Today, we are diving into a really powerful story called The Burden of Terrible Freedom. And it gets you thinking. It really poses a huge question. What actually happens when someone gets absolute power, and with it, absolute clarity? So, let's set the scene. Our story kicks off at the end of a long, tired century, an age that's just collapsing under, and I quote, the suffocating weight of human delusion. This is a world where all the old rules, all the old beliefs are starting to fall apart, making way for something totally new. And this transformation brings up a fascinating and kind of terrifying question. What if becoming a god isn't a gift? What if it's actually a curse? To figure that out, we've got to go back to the very beginning, because this wasn't just some guy getting superpowers. This was an idea, a thesis, literally coming to life. It all starts with this frail scholar, who's described as a Faust of the mind, working away inside his gamma-fueled cage. Now, he wasn't looking for power to conquer anything. He just wanted to see what was beyond the limits of being human. And then, bam, it happens. With this incredible, thunderous crack and just one single explosive word, Kimata, the scholar is gone. The old self is just vaporized in a flash of pure energy. And rising from those ashes is a totally new being. But listen, this is not a super soldier meant to fight humanity's petty wars. This is something else entirely. This is Votann, the Overman. And you really have to get this next part to understand the whole story. He's not just a character. He is a concept made real. He is a philosophical thesis made flesh. A living, breathing idea that's about to challenge everything we think we know about being human. But here's the twist. This new, godlike life immediately throws a challenge at him that's way bigger than any bad guy could be, and that is the profound, crushing weight of his own freedom. I mean, just try to imagine it. You have the strength of a god. You have absolute amoral freedom. You're beyond good and evil. You stand in glorious isolation. You don't answer to any human master, and you're not tied to any old morality. You are completely and utterly free. And this brings us to the core idea, terrible freedom. The burden isn't about being held back. No, it's the crushing weight of seeing with perfect clarity that all the things we build to protect ourselves, religion, government, power structures, are all just obsolete delusions. So it's right at this moment of crisis, as he's standing alone with this cold, hard truth, that temptation shows up. And it's not offering more power, it's offering an escape. In walks Mephistopheles, the spirit who denies. But forget the horns and the pitchfork. No, this guy is slick. He's a modern figure in a business suit with a cynical little smirk and a deal on the table. And his offer, it's simple and it's incredibly seductive. He basically says, give up this cold, lonely burden of truth. Trade this terrible freedom for the safety and the warmth of a comforting lie. Just come back to the herd. So this is the choice Votann has to make right here. On one side, you've got this glorious isolation, where you have to create your own meaning from scratch. On the other, you have the comfort of the herd, where you accept the delusions, but you get this sweet oblivion. So what's it going to be? What does he choose? How does the Overman respond to the ultimate temptation? Well, his answer isn't a debate. It's not an argument. It's a final, thunderous verdict. He sees right through the deal. He realizes that accepting that comfort, accepting the need to belong, just means becoming a powerful slave. A slave to fear, and a slave to the slave morality of the very people he would lead. And so he makes his proclamation. He embraces the very thing that others would be terrified of. He says, I am a monster of the will. He's fully accepting that his nature is way beyond our simple human ideas of good and evil. He knows exactly why his freedom is such a burden. It's because it comes with absolute, total responsibility. There is no one else to blame, no God to thank, no devil to curse. The law is his and his alone. So his purpose, then, isn't to save people who are clinging to their old, rotting structures. No, he seeks to surpass them, to be living proof that a soul can create its own meaning, its own reason for being. And this brings us to the final, unforgettable image of the Overman's existence. It's a metaphor that just perfectly captures both his incredible power and his deep underlying tragedy. The story gives us this amazing metaphor. Becoming the Overman is like a mountain that suddenly wakes and begins to walk. It does not hate the villages at its feet, but its mere existence shatters the small, comfortable world of those who remain below. Okay, let's break that down because it's so good. 1. He's an unstoppable force. The world changes just because he's in it. 2. He's beyond malice. The mountain doesn't hate the village, right? And 3, his presence is inherently shattering. His steps, by their very nature, will always break the small, comfortable delusions of the world below him. And so, that leaves us with one final, very difficult question to think about. If comfort is just another kind of cage, is the terrible, isolating burden of freedom really worth the cold?